Commissioner Burke, Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Taylor,
Here.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Here.
Mayor Paget.
I am here. Invitation. In honor of the people who inhabit this land. There we go. In honor of the people who inhabit this land, Opa-locka. We give thanks for those who came before us to prepare this city to what we stand on today. We ask for wisdom and understanding to guide us and strength and courage to make the right decision on behalf of the people. We give thanks. Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Madam Clerk, do we have any awards, proclamations, or acknowledgements?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, do we have any pulls, deletions, or deferrals?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to defer
All right, which item?
13-2.
Okay. Any other pulls, deletions, deferrals?
Mr. Mayor,
Madam Vice Mayor Williams?
13-1.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Williams. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor, Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Mayor Paget.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Williams. Madam Clerk?
Mr. Mayor, we have an add-on item.
Oh, you're right about that, huh? All right. Let's, Madam Attorney, would you read, or Madam Clerk, the add-on item?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, this item will be included as agenda item 14-1, a resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to enter into a utility infrastructure conveyance and service agreement with Sailboat TH Development LLC, providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This item is sponsored by the city manager.
All right. Mr. Manager, could you state the emergency nature for this item?
Mr. Mayor, the emergency nature of the item is for the health, safety, and welfare of the subdivision of Sailboat Cove in regards to initiating water and sewer services for that specific subdivision.
All right. Do we have a motion to add this item on the agenda?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second.
second by Commissioner Davis. Madam Clerk?
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Mayor Paget.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion.
Moved by Vice Mayor Williams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Taylor. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Paget.
Yes. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the virtual COVID-19 workshop minutes from May 28, 2020?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Williams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Davis. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Paget.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the regular commission meeting minutes for January 13th, 2021?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Vice Mayor Williams. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Mayor Paget.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
Do I have a motion to approve the special commission meeting minutes for February 1st, 2021?
Move it.
Moved by Vice Mayor Williams,
Second.
second by Commissioner Taylor. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Mayor Pike.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, moving on to District 1 and District 2 reports. I know we have Ms. Melanie Burke on the line.
Hi, yes, this is Melanie Burke. However, I'm not representing District 2. I am here on behalf of Mayor Danielle Levine Cava. I am the intergovernmental affairs liaison for municipalities in the North County. So I just wanted to introduce myself to those that don't know me and reintroduce myself to those that do in this capacity. So the mayor basically wants to bring the county government closer to the people. And for example, last week, Mayor Cava launched a historic civic engagement campaign, Thrive 305, which is to seek input directly from residents to inform them of her priorities and policies through a county-wide survey and engagement events to make sure diverse voices from across Miami-Dade are uplifted. With their ideas and voices at the table, we will be able to build a more equitable, inclusive economy where all Miami-Dade families can prosper. And the community can learn more and take the survey at thrive305.org. That's THRIVE 305.org. And lastly, today, the mayor officially launched Miami-Dade's first Office of Equity and Inclusion office, which entails doubling down on investments in communities that have been historically disenfranchised and underserved. So basically, my job with the municipalities is to bring you information so that you can, share the information with your communities, knowing that the mayor wants to make sure that she can be reached through me. And if there's any events or you want her to come and tour something that you might be having issues with, I will be your go-to person between yourself and the mayor. And I believe that the clerk has all of my contact information. If she doesn't, I'll make sure that I send it to her.
Thank you, Ms. Burke. Any comments or questions from my colleagues?
Mr. Mayor,
And Commissioner Davis?
thank you. Not a question, but more of a comment. I just want to, highlight our new mayor, Miami-Dade County, Mayor Daniela Carver, as well as our new Progressive County Commission and all the great work I've been seeing in the rollout. As you know, as a former organizer, I've always been an advocate of community engagement and encouraging our community to be involved in every level of planning in government. So props to her and her office and the rest of the county commission for taking on such an initiative and really looking at ways that we can make Miami-Dade County more equitable. So again, thank you, Mayor Carver and the new county commission, and Mrs. Burke. Thank you as well for coming to speak to our community tonight.
My pleasure, sir.
Again, I like to echo my colleagues' sentiments. As community organizers stepping up to power, and it is amazing to see the difference. Mayor Cava, her reign so far is just amazing and impressive to see. Much respect for the opening of the Office of Equity and Inclusion, and she has been a friend to Opa-locka and has always answered any calls that we've had. So I want to thank you, Ms. Burke, for representing Mayor Cava, and just Mayor Cava, just tell her that we appreciate her, keep running, keep going strong, and we will be there in support and in exchange to make sure that this community of Miami-Dade County and the city of Opa-locka gets the resources it needs to battle this pandemic, our infrastructure problems, and all those things. So much respect and thank you, Ms. Burke, for coming today.
Will do, Mr. Mayor, will do. Thank you. It's my pleasure.
All right. All right. Do we have District 1? Okay. All right. So moving on to public presentations. First up, we have Senator Chevron Jones.
Good afternoon, good evening, Mayor and Mayor Pygott and Vice Mayor Williams, and to the entire commission. It's definitely good to see all of you all here this evening. Excuse me. I'm here in Tallahassee, and I'm just so privileged to be able to have the opportunity to be with you all today. Before I get started, I do want to let you all know that it's a true honor and a pleasure to represent the city of Opa-locka. Although I did not have the privilege of representing Opa-locka while I served in the House for 8 years. I am looking forward to serving you all in the Senate and serving Senate District 35. We are hoping for a session that will provide relief for our most vulnerable Floridians. We will put forward many bills, including assistance for small businesses, tax credit for businesses who provide full-time work for former interns, a path that we're looking for people who cannot afford to pay fines and fees for their license renewal, eviction assistance, something that we are working with the governor's office on, and looking at a legal overhaul of doing police reform that we're working along with the other side. And the Black Caucus just did a presentation just yesterday and what that looks like. Currently now within the Capitol, there are a bunch of restrictions that have been put in place to protect the public health of the community. Right now, staff are required to wear masks. In the Senate, we are not allowed to have any visitors with lobbyists, and so Zoom and which I think all of us are pretty tired of, but this is the only way to keep safe for right now, is where we're getting a lot of our work done. So we're also getting tested weekly on a weekly basis to get an ongoing check of our status. Yeah, I want to be frank with you all, and I've been in the legislature now since 2012, and this is probably one of the most interesting times in the budget year. Tourism was one of our strongest industries in Florida, and we all had all of our eggs in that basket. The pandemic has changed all of that. In past years, we could squeak out a $100,000 appropriation or $200,000 appropriation, but that just won't happen this year in that manner. There are new rules that have been put in place, new rules from even when I was in the House. One of the rules now says that if 50% of the appropriation is not funded out of the budget in the House, then the project won't be funded at all. And so that cut will be reflected in the House budget and maybe reflected in the Senate budget when they finally meet to deal with the budget. While those constraints of the state's reduced budget will make the appropriation process all the more difficult, it has more than it has been in the past. My office, we are currently working now with the Senate President's office to advocate specifically for the city of Opa-locka. So much so that we met with the Senate President, and I've gotten all the emails and as it pertains to flooding. I've gotten all the emails as it comes to drainage. And let me tell you all that we, as just sitting on the Transportation Committee, even if you go back and go and watch it, I specifically asked for what are we going to do for communities like Opa-locka, Miami Gardens, and some of the unincorporated areas that is dealing with the flooding concerns. The Senate President was going to come down to visit a few weeks ago, but he unfortunately COVID. So he could not come down like we wanted him to. But I can tell you that just having a relationship with Mayor Pygott, and I met with all the mayors last week, that is the open line of communication that I want. I want to be able to have a partnership with this because I believe the only way we're going to be able to get the funding and the things that we need to bring this thing across the finish line is to be able to do that, to have you all, the practitioners who are actually on the dais, to bring you all into this process, to talk with the governor's office, to talk with the Senate president, to talk with the speaker, to know why we are advocating for the things we're advocating for. It is my hope that the leadership will understand how difficult the city issues are and help Opa-locka in its 8 local funding requests that you all have given to me. I didn't have the pleasure of talking with the House yet when it comes to those 8 projects, but our office, I'm actually going to stay up here on Friday to go over to the House to begin to meet specifically about those things that are important to Opa-locka. I want to end on one note, and that is bringing to your attention a House Bill 1, and which is the Combating Public Disorder Bill. I'm sure you all have seen it on the news because this bill will affect and impact municipalities, including Opa-locka. The important synopsis, and I will send you all, I can email you all the bill write-up so you can see it. The important synopsis is that the municipal budget can be appealed, petitioned, and modified should this legislation be passed. So this bill is the top legislative priority bill for the majority leadership, and it is expected that the bill will pass for that reason. I disagree with the bill. I don't support the bill because just like I was been very honest on whether it's on the news or whether on NPR or what the impetus of that bill was. That bill came in the summer during the Black Lives Matter protests. We cannot couch it any other way in which the governor's office is trying to do. And so I'm making it extremely clear that District 35 is the largest Black district in the state of Florida and the 3rd largest Black district in the country. And we're going to fight for it to ensure that they know that we are just that. And so to each of you in the city of Opa-locka, I want you to know I want this to be a partnership, so much so, mayor and vice mayor and commission. I want you all to know that I am asking my office to be on your commission calls at least once a week to give you an update of what's happening here in Tallahassee and to keep you in the know of what we're doing, how we're fighting for your issues that you have in Opa-locka, because I really, truly want this to be a partnership with all of us so we can bring some wins home. And so we can make sure that Opa-locka can continue to thrive. And let's make it clear, as long as I'm sitting in this chair, there's no one will be filing a bill to dissolve the city of Opa-locka on my watch. Thank you all. I'm looking forward to any questions.
Awesome. Thank you. Any comment, questions from my colleagues? Vice Mayor Williams.
I'm not sure if Senator Jones is off, but I
I'm here.
can't. Okay, how are you? I can't stress enough how much we needed to hear the agenda and how much we truly thank you for your leadership, your passion and your commitment for the service of the people that you serve, that you've been elected to serve for. So we thank you and we're excited to continue the partnership, to work together. We know that your heart is in it for the people, and so is this commission. So we're here to support you in any way possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice Mayor.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Taylor.
Also to Senator Jones, I just want to say congratulations on your win, your victory, and we thank you for the support that you have for the great city of Opa-locka. And we look
Thank you,
forward to, like my colleagues said, to working with you.
Thank you, Commissioner Taylor. I really appreciate it.
Senator Jones, I'd say much respect as always to you. You've been fighting for this community and our communities for quite a while, and we know and recognize that you're going to continue to fight for the city of Opa-locka, and it's already been expressed with your instrumental in getting our COVID testing center here in the city of Opa-locka. So much respect for doing that and just moving forward. I know you are an amazing man because you recently hired one of my mentees, Timothy Hill, in your office. So shout out for recognizing the talent of that young brother, 100 Black Men Leadership Academy. And I see him on this call. So Much respect, Senator Jones, for recognizing that amazing talent and continue to build your team up there in Tallahassee to fight for us.
And Mayor, I just before I hop off, I do want to say this as it pertains to the vaccines. My goal is to bring a pod to Opa-locka. I do know that the director's office said that they were going to reach out to the city. I don't know if they have done that yet, and I get the city manager and we can reconnect on that. But here's what my goal is. And I shared this with the director. Opa-locka is not Miami Gardens. Opa-locka is not Miramar. Miami Gardens is not Miramar. Miami Gardens is not Opa-locka. And I think they're trying to intertwine the two. The goal is to make sure that people feel safe with getting tested in their community. And so that's what we're trying to push towards. So our goal, my office is working along with Director Moskowitz's office to bring forth a pod specifically for the city of Opa-locka. I mean, I wanted to take it a step further, but we couldn't do it to let it be known that only people from the city of Opa-locka can get tested, but they won't allow us to do that. But what I want to do is I at least want to make it accessible to the people and the residents of Opa-locka so that they can know that it's there and available to them.
Thank you. And just that is no just talk. Senator Jones put me in direct contact with the Department of Emergency Management Office, Moskowitz, and we had direct communications with their office up there in Tallahassee. So thank you, Senator Jones, for your advocacy for the city of Opa-locka.
All right, y'all take care.
All right. Moving on. So our next, any other comments, questions? All right, thank you. All right. Moving on to our next public presentation, Ms. Christina Banks.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. I come before you tonight to have all of you to stop and take a good look at yourselves. Stop and remember that you all took an oath to come before this community, to serve the community, okay? And I'm seriously coming before you because I think it's a shame that I have to come before you in order to get something that's mine. And there's not one of you on that dais who doesn't know about it. I didn't come to bash nor to put anybody on call, but I want you to make a decision tonight to make the right decisions for this community, okay? Take a good look at yourself because prestige and power is something that will always come around. And you will be defeated, trust me, because what's done in the light comes to the dark. I am here because I've asked, and I don't want to get into the portion of trying to obtain information on something that I'm entitled to. When the commission and the city asked me to give hours and hours and money towards anything that I did for this city municipality, I did it on and off. There's not one of you up there, with the exception of the two new commission, that can't say I didn't. The hours I put in from working in 24 years with this city, from being in the commission, the city manager's office working, human resources, police department, and parks and recreation. 4 of your main major departments. Endless hours, endless service. There's not one employee that can't say that I didn't try to touch their lives to make it better in this community. And the fact that I'm an employee here, and I have worked for 50 years living in this city, 50 years as a resident. Take a good look at yourselves because you represent the community. My question is, number one, I would like to know, when will I be getting the retirement funds that I'm entitled to? The same way I gave you your hours when you were expecting me to be here, I expect for you to do the right thing. I received a call from Mrs. Kiera on Friday indicating that it would be ready on the 17th, which is the next payroll. I would like the commission to look at that and to make sure that it happens, okay? I'm not asking for anything that you don't owe me because I gave you what you asked for when I was here as an employee. Now I expect you to do the right thing, not because you like me, not because you dislike me, but because of the work that I did for you. And in my file, it doesn't say anything about any one of you complaining about anything that I did at that time. All I heard was continue to do the work, Ms. Banks. And if any one of you up there on that time said, Mrs. Banks, I need you to do it, I did it. The hours that I put in under the city manager's office says it within itself. The number of city managers that I worked up under, your HR department. Take a good look at your employees because you do have some good employees and they don't deserve to fight for what's theirs, okay? Get involved in it and make sure it happens. That's why I'm here. Not to bash, not to get on you, but to make it aware to you that you took an oath to make sure, okay? Don't let power and prestige get in the way because in the end you lose out. So I would like someone tonight to tell me that I am definitely going to get it and when I can pick it up. And I would also like to put it on record that I would like to have a request of a breakdown of the funds, okay? I thank you all for your time. I would like to wish all of you the best. I'm happy that you all are here, but I pray that you all do the right thing, okay? Thank you very much, Mayor and Commission. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Ms. Banks. Commissioner Burke?
Ms. Banks, when did you retire, Ms. Banks?
I retired out from the city on October 31st.
October 31st?
October 31st, I retired out, okay?
And as of today?
As of today, I have not received not one penny, not one penny. But when you all asked me to work, I offered to take positions at half my salary to give it to you, and nothing. So I retired out. You know, there's some battles you have to say,
Oh my God.
you can't fight. But you can't have employees that have given you everything and their lives and their livelihood. And then you kick them to the curb. But if you're going to kick me to the curb with what's mine, okay? It is the righteous thing to do. And I expect the commission to do the right thing while they're here. Because if I sat in that spot, I would do the right thing as best as I possibly could for every employee. Now, I know you have bad employees and good employees, but I'm asking for what's mine. It's mine. I earned it. And I earned it very hard. As an executive secretary for this municipality, I'm entitled to it. And I would like to receive it on the 17th. I would like to, whatever your procedure is, HR department can contact me and say, Ms. Banks, come to the office or come to your lobby, however. I would also like a breakdown of what was sent to the state because I have received nothing but lies, okay? For the commission, I want you to know that, okay?
Thank you, Ms. Banks.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can you?
So I'd like to cut straight to the chase because when this was brought to our attention with the agenda briefing, I know that at the end of the day, as commissioned on this dais, we cannot get involved in the day-to-day. However, we can inquire. So, Mr. Manager, could you answer Ms. Banks' question and let us know if there was any breakdown in protocol that led to this and how that is actually being addressed so it doesn't happen again?
As you know, we still as a city have to get approval from the state. So Eddie was going through a process. Excuse me. She spoke to Ms. Ward this week and she will receive her check on her payment out on Wednesday because we have to have a payment done through the payroll. We can't do it separate than the payroll we do through ADP. It has to be a calculation of what we really owe her. That has to be approved. Excuse me, sorry. So they had to go through a process. And she will have all of her money on all that's due to her on this Wednesday, upcoming Wednesday.
Okay, so hold on, Ms. Banks. So what is the timeline that is traditional, and how do we make sure that if there is any break away from that timeline, that people are communicated so that issues like this are resolved?
Excuse me. I would have to refer to my HR director on the process for that. And once I found out about this issue, I inquired about it, and I had to give a call to Ms. Banks to let her know when she was going to get her payout. But I would have to refer to Mrs. Ward if she's on the Zoom. They let us know what the process is. I just know the stages it goes through. I mean, how long does it take? I was doing requisitions today that was back to November. So I know a lot of it has to do with the process. But it's having to get approval from the state, and especially for payouts, because they want to know the exact, they like a lot of information and backup documentation of what we're paying out to our employees.
All right, thank you, Mr. Manager. And to Ms. Banks, the delay in payment is an issue that's been going on since we've been under financial oversight. So we understand that consideration sometimes is out of our control in terms of the approval process. However, we want to make sure that you get communicated. So we hope that as was discussed and what you said and management said, that follows through. And if not, feel free to come back before this commission to make us aware of whatever issues that you may be experiencing. So thank you very much for your service and for serving the people of Opa-locka for so long, Ms. Banks. Any other comments or questions? Vice Mayor Williams.
I believe in giving people their flowers while they're living. And I personally never met Ms. Banks, but I can tell you that anyone that has given that many years of service to Opa-locka, I thank you. And publicly, I just want to say thank you for that service, and prayerfully, all that is due and owed to her will be given. Thank you.
Right. Our next public presentation is from Mr. Robert Holland.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, that's an add-on?
Huh?
You say public presentation?
Yes, public comments. I have the note from the
Okay, I'm sorry.
city clerk for that to happen. All right. All right, if not, then we'll move on to citizens forum and come back to him during citizens forum. All right, so with that, let's move on to citizens forum. Madam Clerk, could you state the protocols that govern citizens forum and let us know if we have any emailed or online comments?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, good evening. Due to COVID-19, the City of Opa-locka Commission will hold its meetings in person while still allowing virtual participation via Zoom. In-person meetings will be held in the Commission chambers at Shabandi Village, 215 Purvis Avenue, Opa-locka, Florida. Space for in-person attendance is very limited due to COVID-19 social distancing. Members of the public wishing to address the Commission are strongly encouraged to participate virtually by registering at least 2 hours prior to the scheduled meeting time at public comments at opalockafl.gov. City Commission meetings will be aired through live stream at www.youtube.com/user/City of Opa-locka. The procedures for public participation at commission meetings can also be found on the City of Opa-locka website at www.opalockafl.gov. And Mr. Mayor, I did receive 2 public comments via email.
You may proceed.
The first one is from Sherry Brown, 361 Sinbad Avenue, Opa-locka, Florida. To whom it may concern, I would like to send out a huge thank you to the City of Opa-locka Public Works Department for the assistance I received today. I called earlier today reporting an issue, and I spoke with Kathy, who immediately relayed the information to Supervisor Ken or Kenneth, and he responded swiftly by calling me to investigate the issue. Within an hour, my issue was resolved. The level of service I received was exceptional. Kudos to Ken and Kathy. Thank you. That concludes the first one, Mr. Mayor. And the second public comment is from Michelle Henney, 106 640 Paris Street, Cooper City, Florida, 33026. How is the commission sure that John Pate is still not job searching while being employed by the city? Is the commission aware that George Ellis, Assistant City Manager, has acted very aggressively towards several city employees, both past and present? There have been several witnesses to his behavior. One of the very few people that Geraldine Lazar of Trimerge has hired as a city employee in the last 3 years is Jeanette Luxama, who has sued her previous employer, the city of Miami Beach, accusing them of slut shaming and sexual harassment. This story has been in the news. Geraldine Lazar has complained that she is short-staffed in the finance department. Lazar makes $139 per hour, in addition to half of every hour charged by her Trimerge associates. One can clearly understand why she would directly benefit from railroading and lying on several city employees and discrediting them so that they would become frustrated and leave their employment, forfeiting their pension opportunity and other benefits. In the event that someone was not paying attention in the last commission meeting, 13 people have resigned in the finance department since Lazar took office. This would explain why the department is short-staffed and your audits are consistently behind. Any capable, reputable, and professional CPA firm would have had your audits up to date by now. It has been over 3 years and way over $1 million later, and you are still 2 years behind, and the city has lost several great employees. Sounds like not much has changed under the new commission. That concludes the second public comment, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Citizens forum is open.
Good afternoon, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and Commission. My name is Dorothy Dottie Johnson, 13724 Northwest 22nd Place, Opa-locka. Although the resolution was taken off the agenda, when it returns, I hope that it will have a line item. It will give clarification because I didn't get the attachment today and I didn't ask for it. Whether this include all the commission and the city manager or just the city manager. Number two, the workshop on yesterday was excellent in my opinion. Although to the chair of the audit committee, we need a meeting so that we can make our own motions. I need some clarification, and I think I misspoke at one of the meetings because a couple of citizens brought it to my attention, so I really want to clarify this. I was not soliciting to be a mentor to any commissioner, currently or past. I was just saying a reporter asked me. I don't think mentorship is when you have a relationship, and I don't think I could have any of that at this time with the new elected officials or others. Ones that I poured into really good. And the ones that listen, I try to continue to do that. So I was not soliciting for anyone to contact me or to ask because someone told me it was very rudely misconstrued. I don't want to get to know you by what you say. I want to get to know you by what you do and did. And for those city officials that came through the monitoring like every other citizens and got your temperature, kudos to you because you all are exposed to too many people and everyone, you're not exempt. Everyone should go through it. I am not trying to enhance my resume. It's complete. I retired 4 years early. And as of January 31st of 2021, I retired from the city of Opa-locka. I was given some bad information, not by the clerk. I was told that all the retirement come out of your budget, and I lost $14,000 in my retirement from the city. But what I didn't have, I can't miss. That's behind me. I would like to also make sure that we be cautioned. You have to have thick skin to be up there. Don't take everything personal. It's not personal, and most people don't want to get to know you. They want to get to know the action you have taken. And you don't get a degree by morals. And I think that some things that happen It was absolutely wrong. But you know what? This ain't my battle. It's not over. Have a blessed day.
Citizens forum is open. All right, Mr. Holland, are you online? All right.
Can you
again,
hear me?
Yes, we
What
can.
about now?
We
Okay.
can now.
I'm actually here in support of the item that was added to the agenda to try to help get this development going in Opa-locka, but I can wait until that item comes up. That is the one that was added onto the agenda. I was only here for if there were any questions, that's all.
All right. Any other comments, questions? All right, citizens forum is closed. Do you have any comments or questions from my colleagues? All right. Do want to give a shout out to Ms. Shirley for bringing that comment and highlighting the work of our Public Works Department. I will echo that. I've had many residents, other people comment that they have called and have been responsive to the city of Opa-locka. So much respect on the increase from Public Works in terms of responding to citizens' concerns. All right. With that, I will close citizens forum. And it's time to get to our business. Madam Attorney.
Mr. Mayor.
Oh,
Really quick.
Commissioner Taylor.
I don't know if this is possible, but I want to reconsider and pull item 13.3.
That just passed.
Is that possible to
Yeah.
reconsider?
We approved the consent agenda. We will
Well-
have to make a motion to rescind that and then do it again.
Yes, you're correct, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
All right. All right. Moving on to item number, what is it? 13.1.
A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, establishing a special events policy and procedures and adopting a special events handbook, providing for appeal of all prior resolutions in conflict, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Davis,
Second.
second by Commissioner Burke. Mr. Manager, could you introduce this item?
Mr. Mayor, I asked for the Director of Parks and Recreation to come up and explain the item in its detail.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners, City Manager, colleagues, and guests. Delvin Patterson here to present the special event policy for the City of Opa-locka. Basically, special event policy is just like a guideline outline how we conduct special events here in the city of Opa-locka. So basically, a special event is defined as any event, meeting, activity, or gathering of persons invited by public advertisement for the purpose of witnessing or participating in any common purpose, entertainment, or exhibition, or purchasing or selling any merchandise, food or beverage, or consuming any food or beverage upon any city-owned public facility, street, sidewalk, alley, park, parking lot, or other public places. Here in the city, we have different types of events that I'm gonna go over in detail. We have a major event. We have city-produced events. We have city-contracted events. We have commission initiatives, which is internal and external. And then we have the regular producer or organizer, okay? A major event is defined as anything that has a road closure, amplified music. The length of the event is 4 hours or more, alcohol is sold and distributed, and it's more than 100 people with the above characteristics. Now, for a major event, a special event committee will be assembled to go over the application of the major event as well as the commission events as well. This special event committee consists of different department heads and the public relations team. For each event we have here in the city, a permit will be needed for each event here in the city. So a major event, those five characteristics that I explained previously before, has to come before the commission and has to be approved. City produced events is any event produced and managed by the city and is approved in the adopted annual budget we have here in the city. And that also will come before commission as well when the event is coming up. City contracted event is any event is contracted with the city and an outside entity, and that also has to come before commission to be approved. And then we have our initiative, the commission initiatives. We have internal, which is an internal department, and the commission may want to do some type of event. That will be inside of the budget as well, the annual budget, and that will come before commission. And then the external, commission may want to do something externally with an external group. That would come before commission, and the funding has to come from either a sponsorship or the commission or the organization in itself. And then we have our normal organizer producer we have in our special events. They might want to do some type of wedding or party rental or anything like that. They're responsible for any financial fees or damages. They're responsible for their special event. We also have such language here in the special event that city commission, anybody on city boards, employees can be involved in a major event or can be financially involved in a major event. All right. So we go down to the procedures. Pretty much that would be the Parks and Rec department with all of these procedures with special events. We will make assessments of special events. We will do a yearly schedule of all of our special events we have here in the city. All of our special events will come before commission and adopt it. We will establish a program for donations, which is in our handbook that I'm going to present in a little while. We will advertise all of our special events through the city flyers, city website, anything the city has, city-owned media, we will advertise through them. All monetary donations will be forwarded immediately to our finance department. The Parks and Rec will establish some type of accounting system with the finance department, and all of our special events will be evaluated to observe the effectiveness of the special event. All right. So I went down to responsibilities. Each department will have responsibilities when we do have major special events. Your Parks and Rec department, Public Works, all police, IT, all of us will come together to put on a special event before and after the special event. Now I'm going to move into the handbook that we have. If you give me 1 second. All right, so the handbook that we wants to adopt, it will be for anybody who wants to do a special event here in the city. They will be given this handbook with details in it. We will have a letter written by me with a table of contents that break down each section of the special event or answer any questions they may have. The section 1 consists of what is the event, who can hold the event, and who can apply for the event, the application process where they can pay, the final process approval in that handbook as well. I also put in the department directory because they might need additional permitting. So I put in those numbers to those departments as well for them to call. Then you have a breakdown of a special event with the fees and stuff that we do charge here in Parks and Rec. And then I put TBD to be determined by the department once they call that department, which that number is in our handbook as well. We have additional permits. Like I said, our assessments might need additional permits, alcohol permit, banner permit, any type of permits. They may need the permits as well with the information they may need to get those permits. Also having that event guidelines and terms with the amplified sound, cancellation policy, filming if they want to do films here in the city, an insurance policy, loading, different things of that nature when you go down to that. And I also added in a donation policy to if somebody wants to donate to our city, they will be able to with the guidelines. All donations will be considered gifts to the city. A letter will be written to the city with the who, what, when's, and where, what they are donating, and they may be asked to come before you guys to do a donation proposal so we can know what they're donating and how they're donating. That's the end of my presentation. I'm available for any questions if you may have so.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Vice Mayor Williams, pull the item.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Patterson, I have a few questions and they probably spiral together. My question is for the events policy, how does this affect the commission? Is this a policy that's for anyone outside of the commission that wants to have an event, or is this a policy that also affects what we do when it comes to events that we plan?
Sorry. I wanted the policy to affect everyone. I didn't, that's why I put in that commission initiatives. I put in that the organizer, producer. So I wanted to affect everyone. I didn't want it to just cater to one group. I wanted it to be catered towards everyone.
Okay, so I think what I'm hearing is there has to be, or what you're asking is for a procedure for, and for example, the community cleanup.
Right.
That would not have been possible to fit under the timeline that's in this event policy. So how does that happen if we get, and that had no financial bearing on the city?
Right. Well, that wasn't our event. That was an event that we was just a part of. All right. Once that event comes, we'll probably do some type of special event permit or application to have that type of information on the permit. So when somebody does ask, oh, this is what we did on this day. But that wasn't our event. That wasn't something that was initiated by us. We was asked to be a part of it.
So an event that's initiated by a commissioner, if that event was initiated by a commissioner and it didn't fall within, however, had no financial bearings on Parks and Recreation, we would still have to fit in this timeline?
No, commissions are different. I changed some wordings in our permitting process for commissioners and city events. I changed the language in the handbook for that type of question. I changed the language in that.
Do you know the language?
For any non-city, I put it up. I know it's for any non-city or commission initiative, it takes a process. But for city-owned events, let me find.
And I guess I'm trying to figure out what the difference is between an initiative and an event.
Well, initiatives are adopted in the annual budget. So that's something that
It's
comes.
what? I'm sorry.
It's adopted in the annual budget. So that's something like a tree lighting. That's an initiative. That will be adopted in our annual budget. That's something that we already know that's coming up for the commission. Or something you might want to do a Mother's Day breakfast. That's an initiative that you want to do. That's something we will adopt in our annual budget once it comes around. Did I answer you?
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Burke.
Mr. Mayor, it's a good thing that this city finally has a special events policy. But this is sort of it's sort of confusing, just like Vice Mayor said. Okay, I know before a lot of people just got up and did what they wanted to do. But now it's saying that if we wanted to do a cleanup, like we normally do at the parks or down at Magnolia North, you're saying we're gonna have to get a permit to do cleanups in the city now?
Yes, Any type of event that we have in our city, it'll just be a permitting process. It won't be charged for any city-owned, any city initiative. You just need a process. We need a
And-
permit.
And anybody that wants to make a donation to the city now have to come before the commission.
If you guys want. They don't have to, but if you guys ask.
If you what?
If the commission asks, hey, we need the donor to come before commission, they will have to come before commission and let you guys know what they're donating.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Taylor?
Okay, Mr. Delvin. I understand the confusion that everybody had because it's the same confusion that I have. Now, when it comes down to the commission initiative events, you have both internal and external, right? And I think what my colleague was alluding to is the fact that when we had the cleanup, one of my colleagues' face was on the flyer. So would that event have to go before the commission? I think that's what we're asking.
Not necessarily because
Not
that wasn't our event.
That wasn't our event.
No.
So if an outside entity wants to have an event, because you have the organizer and producer, they will have to come before the commission before they want to do something?
No, that's just a normal birthday party. That's a normal birthday party.
So
The organizer,
anybody can
producer.
come in City of Opa-locka and say, I want to have a cleanup event, and we can just do it.
No, if you would come to me and say, hey, I want to have a cleanup, then yes, you need a permit.
You would need a permit.
Yes.
So
Just a regular permit. Hey, I want to clean up
So the
Kaboom Park.
So the
Okay.
2 month prior to scheduled event, that timeline that you have, they don't have to go.
The city or a non-city event.
But it was a city event.
It primarily wasn't a city event. It was something that we would actually be a part of. But that would primarily won't need a permit.
And I
'Cause
guess
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
I
saying.
know we had 2 events. One was by one of our whatever, and then the other one was on city property.
Right.
But so neither one of those events. So what you're telling me is as long as we get somebody else to sponsor it,
They have
we
to, as long as we know that they're doing this type of cleanup, and yes, let me backtrack. Those type of events, like the commissioner one, he said, hey, I want to do this. Okay, we'll do a permit. All right, long as it'll come before the commissioner, hey, this is what we're doing at Kaboom Park on this date.
and then I have a couple more questions. 2
Okay.
more. The other one was, I think I talked to you about this earlier, but you never gave me an answer. So wait, going back to Vice Mayor's question, what's the timeline for, is the timeline changed, but you never answered it? From the 2 months, because the way
It was
you
30
have-
days. I'm sorry. It was 30 days before the event. I'm sorry. It was 30 days. 30 days.
30 days, so in essence, according to the commission, it'll be 60 days because it has to come on as a new future agenda item.
Right,
And
but
then go on to be voted on, and then, so
Right.
why is it gonna be 60 days?
No, it'd be 30 days for the irregular event, but the city annual events, we probably will already know those events. So it'll be presented to you guys way before time.
Okay, and then my next question is, Shabundi Village Pavilion is not listed on your rentals.
Yes,
Also,
that would be changed in the
that would
literature.
be changed.
Yes.
It also doesn't tell you, you give a flat rate fee for residents and non-residents,
Uh-huh.
but it's not like per hour. You don't tell us how long we can be there.
Yeah, it would be hourly. That would be changed as well.
So it's
in the
whatever,
literature.
so $100 an hour per
Yes.
se.
It's hourly. Yes.
It's hourly. And then the last thing is the alcohol beverage. Under alcohol beverage, you put no. First you said that we can have alcohol, then you said we couldn't have alcohol. So
Right.
is
That
this
was
just a typo?
Yeah, that was just some. It was a type of some changes that we made as well in that literature as well.
But my only concern is the timeline because you said 30 days, but I know now the agenda order has changed. In order for us to sponsor an event, it would probably have to go up under, tell me if I'm wrong, future agenda items, correct?
Which,
In that regard.
And then we vote on it on the next, and then 30 days prior to him, or is that considered the 30 days? Because that's actually 60 days, or 90 if we go by what's actually listed on this, on his initial proposal.
All right, so let me give some context to this. This policy is a direct result of the operational audit finding number 19. which they said that we as a city were not being accountable to our events. Events would just happen, and every event has an amount of city resources, period. Even though it doesn't cost, it does cost for staff to be there, staff to clean up, and staff to do those things. So while we may not invest particularly, it's an investment of staff time. And the audit committee that looked at our events saw that we were having events that weren't appropriated in our budget. So that's what the timeline is about. And looking at this policy, and this is similar to policies I've seen in other cities, and much respect for Mr. Patterson for bringing your knowledge and insight to the city of Opa-locka to help us with this, because this is something that we haven't had a policy for this commission. And with that, it specifically states that in the recommendation, the city should establish policy and procedures to require for each special event commission approval. That's a specific recommendation from the operational audit. So what I'm hoping that we can do after passing this and moving this forward is that we as a commission detail out what those events we want to see throughout the year. So that's there. And then after that, if there are any events that come up, we just bring it to the commission and move it so that we all are on the same page, and there's some policy procedures with that. So that's what I see this attesting to put in place those procedures. Because I know there have been issues with promoting events, having security, marketing, people knowing what's going on. And I'm actually pretty impressed that it covers almost all those bases of things that is identified in the operational audit of the experiences and making that happen. So just to provide some context, but I do hear loud and clear about the process for new events and when events get approved. So Madam Attorney, in the approval of events that come outside of the budget, can that be something moved by just a motion? I want to do this event in motion, or does it need to be a full resolution for that event to actually happen?
I'm not
Excuse me,
sure
Mr.
how
Excuse me,
this.
Mr. Mayor.
Hold-
Could we, before we talk about doing it, could we workshop this since we workshop everything else? Could we workshop this? This should have been in the workshop.
Okay, all right, I hear you, Madam Attorney.
I'm quickly looking through the document to see whether this is addressed at all. But, you know, the commission is always free. This is done by resolution. So the commission is always free to come back, and if it wants to consider other things that would be within your budget, that's within your purview. This is not an ordinance. One thing I am, a little concerned about is staff is mentioning that certain things are going to be added or changed. And so this is what you all are approving right now. So if things are going to be added or changed, you should really come back with those things that are in it so that you can approve a document that you understand what will be added or changed and what's the intent. So that's the only thing. Now, staff wants to say it in the record right now so that we can actually, either Joanna or myself can record it and make sure that it gets within this document. That's one thing. But if it probably would be more appropriate to do it in in a workshop setting as suggested by Commissioner Burke.
Okay. All right. I'm actually for that and bringing it into a workshop setting to move that. So either Mr. Manager, if you want to defer it to a workshop, or do we want to do a motion to move into a workshop so it addresses all of our concerns?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Manager?
I ask Commission to defer this matter to next available workshop.
All right. So this item is deferred to a workshop, and I'll be calling for one of those actually in my report. So, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
All right. Item 14.1.
I think that was the one that we were just talking about, right?
That's the add-on item.
Oh, 14.1, I apologize. A resolution of the City Commission of the City of Opa-locka, Florida, authorizing the city manager to enter into a utility infrastructure conveyance and service agreement with Sailboat TH Development LLC providing for incorporation of recitals, providing for an effective date. This is sponsored by the city manager.
All right, do I have a motion?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Burke,
Second.
second by Commissioner Davis. Mr. Manager, could you introduce this item?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. I'm asked that Mr. Austin, Public Works Director, will come up and explain this item.
Aria Austin, Public Works Director, CIP Director. This item is for the conveyance of sanitary and water distribution infrastructure in a private development to be managed and maintained by the city of Opa-locka. This is necessary for Miami-Dade County to install water meters on the property. Since water meters cannot be installed on private property, the conveyance is necessary for us to move forward with the installation of said meters. I'm here for any questions or concerns that you may have on this item.
Thank you. Any comments or questions on this item?
Mr. Mayor,
Commissioner Burke?
Mr. Austin.
You got folks, you got UK strain.
It's Zoom sometimes. Random. IT handled it pretty quickly. Thank you. Go ahead, Commissioner Burke.
Okay, so, and does this have anything to do with a pump station?
It will also convey the pump station as well, so yes. Yes, it does.
So they're gonna build a pump station.
Pump station has already been built and the sub-infrastructure is already in place. This is conveying it to the city of Opa-locka.
Okay, they're conveying it to the city of Opa-locka, and Opa-locka will be responsible for it.
Yes.
So I think I read someplace where the deed and everything comes with that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Burke,
Yes.
Commissioner Davis,
Yes.
Commissioner Taylor,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Pygott.
Yes.
Motion passes 5-0.
All right, moving on to the city manager's report.
At this moment, Mr. Mayor, I have nothing to report.
Mr. Manager?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry,
Commissioner-
Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, I appreciate that, Commissioner Burke. All right.
No,
Go ahead, you may proceed, Commissioner Burke.
Mr. Manager, I have received written a request from a citizen, and it's troubling to me, and it's informing me that we have a tenant in City Hall that hasn't paid rent in over a year. And I'm trying to find out who that is. And I'm trying to find out, is there something in writing that they shouldn't pay rent? Or I'm trying to find out, does this have to do with COVID? The citizen just said that I need to look into it. So I'm asking the city manager, is there anybody in City Hall that haven't paid rent in over a year? And if so, why and what are we doing about it?
Mr. Manager?
Mr. Commissioner, I'm gonna have to get back with you on that and do some research. We have several tenants in the building. We're trying to find out which one that is and if it is someone with that problem, and get back with you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other comments and questions for the manager?
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Davis?
Thank you. Just really a comment to the manager. And a comment to the commission as well. So as you know, the county extended the deadline to expend CARES Act funding to September of this calendar year. So with that new opportunity being afforded to the city of Opa-locka, we haven't yet realized, I guess, how much the exact dollar amount is left, so that we can reallocate those funds towards much needed programs to include either gift cards or more rental and mortgage assistance for our residents. So just wanted to alert the commission and let everyone know, that's something I've been working on through the manager's office to get those funds expended and get it into the hands of our residents.
All right.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
To Commissioner
Burke.
Davis. Commissioner Davis, I could barely hear you. You're saying they have extended the
Yes. so-
financial help for the rent?
Yes.
And,
So remember, we were awarded, I think it was exactly 2.1 million to expend on rental, mortgage, and grocery gift cards, the program. The county originally gave us a deadline of December 31st to expend those funds, which is why we had a really big push ahead of the holidays. Of course, since then, the new county commission was elected, right? And they chose to go a different direction with those funds to pretty much mirror the federal government extension of CARES Act funding, putting it out to September of this year. So with that new opportunity, we have a longer timeline as well as not as much, but we have a few dollars, those funds that wasn't expended by December 31st to be reallocated towards a program of our choice, either rental, mortgage, or grocery gift card percentage, grocery gift card assistance.
and who do we contact, Mr. Commissioner Davis? Because I've had a young lady contacted me and I wasn't sure. I was thinking that we had to wait for the new CARES Act to be passed. But she contacted me saying she needed rental assistance because of she got laid off during COVID. And I thought I was under the impression that we had to wait for the new CARES Act. But if there's still assistance, can you tell me who I can refer her to?
Absolutely. I'd like to defer to the assistant city manager for his response.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Manager. Speaking to the mic.
Yeah, here we go. The monies that received in the first round of the CARE Act program was approximately $2.1 million. We spent about $2 million or 1.9 millions on food cards. The rest of the money, we had about $400,000 that was put aside for the rental assistance and foreclosure in the mortgage program, but that money was being controlled by any that worked with the county, and they qualified the people. During that process, they ended up maybe only 28 out of 200 people that applied got the funds, which is probably about $150,000. The rest of that money came back to us and we used toward buying more food cards. And so we just got today, I think, reimbursed back into our account today for food cards about $1.9 million that went to our account today. That was a reimbursement for the food cards from the CARES Act. Now, the rest of the funds was toward administrative costs. Now they're analyzing that, evaluating that, and they'll let us know what's the difference for that we have left over that we have an expenditure. The county is currently working to see if there will be any other funds that we give to municipalities. However, the county has opened their doors to our community to be able to get CARES Act money for small business loans and also mortgage and rental assistance. So that's for anybody in the county of Miami-Dade County. But no other appropriation has been provided as of yet to the municipalities. That's where we're currently at.
Mr. Mayor, okay, so, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. Manager, you're saying that our residents, if they need rental assistance now, they have to contact Miami-Dade County.
Correct. But we were very blessed to have a very knowledgeable individual to work with us in that particular program. It's Linda Taylor, who spent many years working with the county operating those type of programming. And she has identified other entities that receive monies that we're right now trying to work to make a part of the city of Opa-locka on a continual basis for our citizens. That's rental assistance from FP&L, and other entities that provide funding they have within their corporate funding to be able to meet people of needs services. So we're working on that now. And she's also been in contact and working with the Miami-Dade County CARES administrators. So hopefully we'll have some up-to-date information by the end of this week, because she's been aggressive. I've been sending emails flying back and forth all for the last couple of days. She's really getting some impact in with them. They really like what she did and what we did. So we believe we're going to have some more opportunities for our citizens and residents.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Vice Mayor Williams.
just wanted to point out something to the manager's office. I will tell you that I am concerned that the branding and marketing of Opa-locka is moving slow. I am concerned about I am concerned. And we write the narrative of what goes on in Opa-locka. And right now we're writing the narrative at a snail's pace. We just saw a news report that went out that was absolutely ridiculous on Channel 7. If you don't know, you can research it. If we continue to let the news write the narrative of what's going on in Opa-locka, there's so many amazing things that have happened between not only in the city, what the city manager and also all the other offices and departments are doing in Opa-locka. We've had workshops, many workshops. We've had presentations that I've requested for those PowerPoints to go on websites that has still not there. We have a listserv of 300 people get our newsletter. Unacceptable. I mean, we cannot just rely on the fact that we think people are going to like our page on Facebook. We have to do more. And if we do not figure out and get how to shape and reshape, because believe me, we just had somebody that did it for 4 years on Twitter. And if we can't figure out how to make that happen, because that message went out the way they wanted it to go out, we have to reshape our message and brand it. And it is just moving too slow. So I just wanted to put that on the plate of the manager's office that we need to get the ball rolling.
Thank you very much, Vice Mayor.
Any
And
other
we will be
questions?
moved, we will be followed up on that. Sorry.
All right. First, I want to go a few questions for the manager's office. First, one thing that wasn't expressed yesterday during the audit workshop that I think should deserve kudos to the manager's office and Ms. Lazier is the extension for the audit, submission of our 18-19 audit, which will allow us to be able to get our property capital assessments included in this audit and set us on the course to get unmodified opinion, which would also hopefully shave 1 year off of this financial oversight. So thank you, manager, and also the staff for taking care of that and also hosting that audit workshop. Earlier today, I had a meeting with the owner of Glorietta Gardens, and they expressed a lot of work that has been done both on their side and the city side to tackle the flooding within that area, cleaning out retention ponds and redoing and renovating the apartments. But there were one thing that he did express a concern about that I wanted to follow up on, and that is public safety. As we've heard many times, that area has been one of the high concentrations of crimes in our city and violent crimes. And we were told that on January 18th, there will be a police substation there and active. What's the status of the police substation and what is going on with that? Because they said that they haven't moved there. It's not there.
Mr. Mayor.
I was on that call with you. Sorry, Mr. Manager. Go ahead, sir.
Mr. Mayor, first, thank you for that question. I was observing that call this morning. As you're aware, the city has been in constant communication with Glorietta Gardens in regards to the police substation. There were various public safety related upgrades that were required that our police department made mention to back in January in regards to security systems, additional cameras being installed, various resources that were needed for officers to actually man that substation on a constant basis. Um, all this is public record. We have constant communication going back and forth from Glorietta Garden in regards to it. The substation was available to the city approximately 4 years ago. Previous administration, the police department refused to use that facility. We did an on-site assessment. My staff, led by Lieutenant Jenkins, did an on-site assessment back in January. We had various different requirements that we required. Again, upgraded security, additional cameras for the facility if officers are going to be there on a constant basis. And actually, a lot of those items were just completed as of recent. The substation was going to be manned today, but we learned that there was additional items that were required to be done by Glorietta that has not been done as of yet, that are still pending to be done, such as individual PIN codes to be issued per officer. So each officer will have an individual PIN, so we can trace who's going in and out the facility at any given time during the day. Signage has also been purchased by the city to be placed and installed outside the substation, which is not stopping the substation from being open, but just speaking of the upgrades that the city has actually invested into the substation as well. The substation is supposed to be operational 6 o'clock tonight. There are issues with keying and the technology related matters on the area of Glorietta, and those are supposed to be resolved at tomorrow morning. What I would suggest, since this matter, as well as Cordoba courts, things are coming to the limelight as regards relationships between Glorietta and Cordoba. I highly suggest that workshop is done with both Glorietta management and Cordoba courts management to transparently state what the city has done and what they've done on their end and kind of give a full status update. Because what's going on now is I don't think a full transparent story is being given. And I want to make sure the public understands the resources that the city is placing in both these apartment complexes on a constant basis. And I think it's very important. But as far as the police substation, it will be operational tomorrow. But the delay, as far as security upgrades and cameras and various different things, has been on the end of Glorietta Gardens, not the city of Opa-locka. And that is what the delay has been since the January date you mentioned, Mr. Mayor. It's officer safety issues, as you know, high crime area. We don't want our officers put in any situations where they're ambushed, coming out of the door, not seeing what's outside the door. So there's various security upgrades that we requested for our officer safety if they're going to man that site on a constant basis.
Awesome. And I know Vice Mayor brought it up, but police substation is a very significant event in the city. And usually I know there's sometimes ribbon cuttings and all those things. Will there be an event to acknowledge a PR around it? What's the process for that? Because if it's opening tonight, like at what point in time will we let the public know that we have heard the issues and we're responding with the establishment of a substation in one of our highest crime areas, and really making sure that we address this? Like, when will that take?
Another good question, Mr. Mayor. First, with any opening, and most openings, you have a soft opening. We got to get in there and make sure everything's operational and working, making sure that everything is established, everything is running smoothly, shifts are flowing in a proper manner. And actually, Lieutenant Jenkins is in the process and has already reached out to Ms. Mockins as of yesterday or either day before to start planning a ribbon cutting. But it's not uncommon for a ribbon cutting to occur after opening of a substation or opening of a facility. We're doing a soft opening, and we're in the process of planning a actual official ribbon cutting. So that is something that is in the works.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. Mayor,
Go ahead, Commissioner Burke.
Mr. Manager, kudos to that substation, but you know that being one of our highest crime areas, I urge you to not move too fast and make sure that substation is ready and ready to go before you put our officers in there. Like you said earlier, you want to make sure when they walk out at night, they know what they're walking into. And when they come in there, they know where they're going. So I love the idea. I welcome it. I'm sure it'll be a great asset to the community and to the city, but make sure that place is ready to go before you put our officers in there. Thank you.
Through the mayor.
Mr. Manager.
Commissioner Burke spoken very eloquently and heard loud and clear, and this is why we're moving very slow. This is why the substation wasn't open in January for these security upgrades to be done. And like I said, we're looking at other things to be done as well, but we are going to slowly implement the substation, look at staffing, look at manning, look at lessons learned, and then appropriately celebrate it. Once we can kind of get it going for at least 2 weeks to a month to say this is going to be a mission success, then at that point we'll go ahead and do a ribbon cutting. But your sentiments are heard loud and clear, Mr. Mayor. Your sentiments are heard loud and clear. And I like I said, I was on the call this morning and heard the sentiments of the ownership of Glorietta. And sometimes silence is better done than actual statements. So that's why the manager's office didn't have much to say during the call this morning, because we didn't want to get into a contentious debate over facts.
What does it mean for, I understand you hear slowly, but what does it mean to do something slowly? Because usually everything is just done when necessary. I know of course, at the end of the day, we want to make sure our officers are protected, but that's a part of the process. So how would it be done slowly? Because I understand that there's certain things that need to be done to make sure that it is an operational area. But could you bring some clarity? Because that was an interesting thing. I wouldn't want to go to the residents and say over there, we're slowly putting in place a police substation. I know it got to be done, but what does that mean? I was confused by that part.
So, okay, so it's a use of words: methodically, properly planned, properly staged, ensuring that the residents get full efficiency and effectiveness of the substation, making sure we have enough officers and manpower to man the substation, not just opening an empty building and not have enough officers on the street. As we know, we have a shortage of officers. The substation has to actually be manned. We don't want to have an open shell of a building where we have nobody in there because we have manpower issues. So that's what we're speaking of when we're talking about doing things. Maybe she used the word methodically, or pull up the dictionary and find a different word. But trust me, the concerns of the residents of there are heard, but we want to do things responsibly. And the city has done a lot of things out of haste and rush, and we end up being placed in a very bad way, and puts a lot of liability on the city, and puts a lot of liability on officers as well. So when I speak of doing things slowly and methodically, I'm speaking of officer safety purposes. I'm speaking in terms of public safety. I'm putting my public safety hat on. I'm putting my risk management hat on, and I'm speaking in ways to ensure that the residents get the best services possible. Just not a building that says Opa-locka Police Department and it's not servicing them the way it needs to be served.
Got it. All right. I'm going to move on. Thank you very much, because we need to make sure that those residents are not living in fear of for forever. The next thing I want to talk about is code enforcement. I know about last year this time we called for a code enforcement investigation, and then there was a brief executive report that came out in September with the saying that we will have a full report in 30 to 45 days. Where are we with the code enforcement investigations and recommendations and plan of action to address the issues that were found?
Mr. Mayor, first, again, thank you for your question. As with anything, delays happen, things occur. We had a code enforcement investigation that occurred that led to arrest and termination of several employees. Some of those employees are currently going through the employment process of getting their, potentially getting their, fighting for their jobs. I am very methodically, again, without haste, making sure that when a complete report is put out, that is accurate and it doesn't put the city in any unnecessary liability position. Secondly, we just had new code enforcement officers that have been hired and employed. The police department is currently indoctrinating them. I'm currently in a midst of evaluating my recommendations to the commission if we're going to keep code enforcement the way it is, up personnel, recommend to the commission to either outsource or partially outsource code enforcement. So there are a lot of moving pieces to the puzzle, as well as budgetary issues as well. And so that's why there has not been a full report released. There's been a lot of fluid related issues going on, but I assure you it's not something that has been mistaken or something that has been forgotten. I know Lieutenant Perez and I know the leadership in the police department, as well as the leadership in code enforcement are looking at making improvements on an everyday basis. As soon as we're done doing the assessment and not rush it, a full report will go out appropriately, along with the thousands of pages of exhibits that are required. The commission required immediate action based on some very significant allegations that occurred. I did that, and I took action. I took decisive action. Now to get a complete report with actual recommendations on how to move the department moving forward for the future is what we're waiting on. And like I said, we have a lot of other pending actions going on concurrently that was the transpired based on this code enforcement inquiry that was requested. That's my answer to your question, sir.
Okay, I asked that because of timeline. We've recently, and I know our last commission meeting, there was a issue in buildings and licensing where we were potentially about to get fined as a city. And I know code enforcement was initially under buildings and licensing. So I'm trying to figure out when we're going to complete that investigation so that we can direct our attention to also buildings and licensing. And I know that as manager, one of the things that you touted is going through each department to make those assessments and movement. I see a lot of changes happen in the police department. I see that the movement's gone in code enforcement. And I know there was made mention of going into buildings and licensing. But it's important because of the fact that we still have this term moratorium that we are under that affects our business community, our occupational licensing. And I wanted to get a clarity on where we are in that process, because that's one of the things that hold us back as a city, not having proper code enforcement and building and licensing that can really help with the development of this city. So do you have a timeline for the completion of that code enforcement investigation?
Mr. Mayor, it'd be irresponsible for me to provide you a timeline at this time as far as the completion. I will tell you that we're working hand in hand with DERM in regards to the administration of our code enforcement department as well as the operations of our building licensing department. And I'll remind you, Mr. Mayor, when I came here as city manager, one of the requests that were made by you as well as the previous commission was for me to do assessment of each department. And I also want to remind the commission that I am the one that enlisted the assistance of DERM to doing the assessment of the building department by releasing the documents that were needed for this current consent decree that we just approved the last commission meeting. So actions are being done by my office in order to address the commission's concerns. I apologize that we're not moving in the pace that Mr. Mayor may want us to move in, but we are moving as rapidly and as responsibly as possible. And understand that we are and have been eliciting the assistance of our county partners and our local partners as well, as far as finding solutions to making our systems more efficient and effective. As recent as today, our IT department has met with DERM as far as looking at upgrading our building on licensing and code enforcement systems, where we can get direct integration with DERM and various other databases. So there'd be simpler ways to communicate, integration with our websites and more automation, those things you speak of. So we're making progress, Mr. Mayor. Just I apologize not moving the pace that you want us to move in.
It's not a worry about the pace. We just want to be able to have some timelines in place so that we communicate to our residents and everything, that we understand what's going on and when things will be an expectation. Open expectations leads to things just continuing down the line. So if you can get with us and let us know when the timeline or when you're going to be more clear about when the completion, please continue to update us on that, because it's something I do not want us to just drop from the wayside because it's not being brought up in our commission meetings. So with that, that concludes my comments from the manager. Anyone else before we move on?
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Commissioner Burke?
I know I've already said this, but I believe Mr. Ellis, in reference to the letter that I received from the resident. Now, you said you were going to get back to me on the information as to who's in Townsend and One that's been there for over a year without paying rent. Not only do I know, I need to know how much money the city is owed, and I need to know why that this tenant was not paying rent, and I need to know what is the city doing to either try to get rent or to evict the tenant. And I need to know this so I can respond to the resident. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other questions, comments for the manager's office? All right, moving on to future agenda items. Any future agenda items? One thing that I would like us to consider moving forward and moving on is our water billing. As you know, that's our second major challenge that we have as a city. And recently, I've gotten more requests and comments about what we're doing with our past due water bills. One thing that we have done and made of significant progress is replacing the meter and transitioning it. But what is the plan for those outstanding debts? And I know it's in the tune of, I think, Mr. Manager, how much outstanding do we currently have in the city?
Sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Pate.
Over $1 million, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, it's a couple $1 million that's outstanding. And as you know, this is a issue that's been going on for at least 3, almost 4 years. And there's still residents that have bills from that time. And right now, we don't have, I don't know what the answer is. So I would like us to put on the agenda to direct the manager to put together that plan, or whether it be collections, whatever it is, put together that plan so that we can address that and close it out, and move on, so everyone is clear about what's going on with those water bills. So that's what I propose to my colleagues. So I'd like to motion.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor, the reason you haven't gotten any planning or reason that we haven't moved on is because of ongoing litigation, sir. And I wouldn't be able to provide a plan moving forward until litigation is resolved. We have ongoing class action litigation in regards to our water billing. So any action the city may take in regards to that may affect that litigation. And so I know we've been provided advice in regards to that in the past, and I wouldn't be able to put a plan in writing at this time.
All right. So, Madam Attorney, could you weigh in on that? Because I know that we specifically asked that question with our attorneys, and that's something that I think we need to do. I don't know. Could you weigh in on whether or not we can put together some type of plan for our residents?
This issue, Mr. Mayor, has come up before, and I'm not, I guess, clear on exactly what you're asking, but generally speaking, both myself and outside counsel have spoken with the manager in the past about issues that could affect the litigation. So the manager is correct. And I'm not sure how we can separate some of the things. Maybe we can have a meeting with you offline and talk through it and try to figure out how we can address your concern if we can, outside of anything that may impact the litigation activities.
It's not particularly my concern. There are literally thousands of residents that kind of been in limbo. So at what point do we give clarity? Because how long would this case take? It's already been a few years. And I know litigation can last quite a while. And I know that even that litigation deals with the class. So does that litigation stop all the residents in Opa-locka from getting some type of clarity and resolution on what to do with those past due bills? That's what's been coming up quite a bit. And I just want to see how can we address it? Like, what is our statement to the residents? Because I'm not clear.
Right. I think the city has done some things already, and I don't know if the proper person is in the audience, but I think there have been some collection efforts that have already taken place, and the city manager's office will be in a better position to address that. But
Mr. Mayor.
Yes,
So the city manager office has actually attempted collections activities as well as attempting to lien various accounts, and court action was filed, and that action was requested to be halted and actually included as part of the class action suit. So yes, our collection attempts, as we try to do them, has now been intermingled with the current class action lawsuit. So yes, we have attempted, and we have attempted to make moves in regards to it. And again, all directions lead to this current litigation. And this is why I made the statement. I think Madam Attorney made the statement. There's really nothing the city manager's office can do at this point without it necessarily affecting litigation. Our collection activity caused the injunction to be filed against the city on filing liens against properties that owed on past water bills. That was as of a couple months ago. So we have attempted, and now it's intertwined with this litigation.
Okay. To my colleagues, I don't want this to be something that we don't stay on top of, because there are literally thousands of people within our city that are currently in limbo. And we need to find out what's going on. And I just want some type of statement or plan or something that gives them an understanding. That's all. And whatever that is, I don't know what it would be because I understand the litigations, the sensitive nature of this, but we got to give our people something. And that's what I'm asking for, and that's what I'm trying to figure out for us to be able to get from management, from attorney, for whatever, so that people understand this financial situation. That's just one other problem that's in the back of people's minds, and we need to give some type of process. So currently, right now, I've been referring people to our public works and Ms. Brainan to get some type of review, but there's still a lot of questions. So I will hold back on this for another meeting or two, but I think we need to put in place something to address this and make a very clear statement on how we are dealing and or dealt with this issue moving forward. All right. All right. Any other future agenda items? All right, moving on to Mayor Commission reports.
Mr. Mayor.
Commissioner Burke.
Oh, I was instrumental in riding around Saturday morning. I was invited to a grand opening at a new business in the city, and I ran across the vice mayor making her rounds, talking to the business people on Alibaba Avenue. And I invited her down to Lucy B's, these two young ladies that are sisters, opened up a new thrift store, and they named it after their mother. So when I saw the vice mayor, I invited her down there, and we got to meet the owners and tour the store. And it's a nice business. It's what we would call a small business, mom and pop. And I think the vice mayor made some friends forever. But I was surprised and I was amazed, and I like that. And I think that's something more that we all should do. Get out in the neighborhood, talk to the business people, and let them know that we're here. And because I know after the vice mayor left, the girls had nothing but kudos for the vice mayor. And I know we're all on the same page. I know we all want the same thing for the city. And I just wanted to say, once again, thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Any other reports?
Mr. Mayor, I was going to say I became family that day with Lucy B's. What an amazing, and they use the word thrift, but it's not thrift. The items were absolutely beautiful. But I also met a lot of business owners, new business owners in Opa-locka. Interesting enough, women. We had this conversation. Women doing their thing in Opa-locka. And I am just absolutely in awe. Met another one today, the business across the street, Empowering Kids. I'm really touched, and I think that's why my passion is there. We must highlight what is happening in Opa-locka, either through the CRA, either something, but we have to highlight what's going on. So thank you, Mr. Commissioner Burke. When he invited me, the first thing I said is, but my hair.
Oh, my hair. But I'm gonna do it.
Yes, but thank you. But also I'll be remiss if I don't thank everyone that showed up for the community cleanup. That was absolutely amazing. Even all the everyone that worked for Opa-locka, everyone that don't work for Opa-locka, but it was just to see the give back was so much fun. And I hope we continue to make that happen. And we thank our Vice Chairman, Oliver Gilbert, for making that happen in the city of Opa-locka. And I know that we all look forward to having many more connections and partnerships with the Vice Chairman. I want to, he's probably going to, I see in the back Sergeant Bosk, and I want to thank Sergeant Bosk. I should have did this in January. And Sergeant Steele for accompanying me to present a proclamation to the family at the funeral of Damon Richardson. And it was really great. A lot of Deltas were there, and Sergeant Bosk had a good time with the Deltas. Let me say that. So, but I really want to thank you, Commissioner Burke, for inviting me down the street. And I look forward to all of us just getting out. It's all about going grassroots. We need to get out, and they need to see that we're here. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor?
Commissioner Davis?
Thank you. I just would like to say thank you to my colleagues for hitting the pavement and having those authentic community conversations what oftentimes keep us grounded in the work that we do that impacts this community. I would also like to send a special thank you to Vice Mayor Williams for leading the community cleanup in one of our almost forgotten about neighborhoods, the Triangle, which is a part of the city that is near and dear to my heart. The park that you guys actually cleaned, I actually developed that a couple of years ago during my time at the CDC. So that park, is always near and dear to my heart. It's a community project that community members worked on. If you know the longstanding history of that neighborhood, there was always will from the community to have a park there, but not necessarily the political will in the city. So that's always, something I'm very proud of, and I'm glad to see that, you're taking on that responsibility and cleaning it and making sure that that area that has been forgotten continues to receive support from this commission. So kudos to you for doing that and all you do in the community. Thank you for reaching out to our business owners. I think as an organizer, I think that was one of my favorite responsibilities was just, kind of go out in the community and listen to those authentic conversations because it has so much value there. So thank you again, Commissioner Burke, Vice Mayor Williams, and everyone who was a part of the cleanup in Magnolia North to help our community. Thank you.
Commissioner Taylor?
I too want to thank Ms. Williams. It was fun when we was cleaning up, even though she didn't do no work. Even though Mr. Patterson and Mr. Grice messed up my Nikes. But it was truly an honor and to be out there cleaning up our community. Like my colleague said, that area is really forgotten about a lot. We focus more on this side than we do the Triangle area. Even though I think we call it, what's the new name for it?
Magnolia North.
Magnolia North. But when I was growing up, it was called the Triangle, where they had the barracks and you couldn't drive, it was only one way in and one way out. I remember that. So again, Vice Mayor, we thank you for your efforts.
Thank you. Again, I echo the sentiments of my colleagues. It was really good to see on Facebook that y'all went out there and showed up at Thrifty Bees and out there. And again, to Vice Chair Gilbert and Ms. Williams Vice Mayor Williams for hosting that community event. It was great. Having the little ones and everybody out there. So it was really good to do that. And we need to do that more often, which is why I want to start off with calling for a workshop. As you know, we have had a series of workshops with the State of the City address, the operational audit, and also our audit workshop, which has identified all the good and the things we need to work on in the city of Opa-locka. And with the current conversation we just had about the events policy, I think it's time for us to start to prioritize what those events are, what we want to see get done, and make sure things get put into the budget. One of the things that I realized when doing the State of the City address is that almost all of my goals of being an elected official has been accomplished being here on this dais. And most of it was bringing in a new generation of leadership that you see here today, and really making the changes that we've been doing to address those 4 major challenges. And they've been moving significantly. But a large part of that was being very strategic about our budget and priorities and working with management, the attorney, and colleagues to make sure that happens. So I want to make sure that we have a workshop where we can clearly lay that out and make sure all of our goals and priorities, whether it be public relations, housing, public safety, all those things are moved forward in the city of Opa-locka. So I would like to call on us to figure that out. So Mr. Manager and Madam Clerk, when can we start that strategic planning workshop? What's a good date and time? And also who will lead that and really bringing out the ideas that we have as a commission and putting together some type of plan for our priorities. Mr. Manager?
Mr. Mayor? Mr. Mayor, you can feel free to poll the commission and call the workshop as you wish, and I'll make sure my staff is available based on whatever subject you want to discuss at that given time. Or maybe I can send out an email and ask about various subjects that each commissioner wants to discuss, and then break it out based on those themes and break it over a series of dates over the next couple months. I just want to make sure it's organized and not just fragmented. I want to make sure it's organized in nature. And I think everybody has similar wishes. So would you allow myself to work with the clerk to poll the commission and put out an email in regards to goals and subjects of discussion, and then set dates? We can get this done, turned around pretty quickly.
That's exactly what I would like to see. We can plan it out so that we can pull out our ideas in however shape or form that's going to be, but making sure it's structured so that we can put those priorities with budget items and plan out events for the year and work on this event policy and those things.
Understood.
All right. Also, I do want to bring to attention, I actually just got off a call right before coming here with Vice President Kamala Harris and all the mayors of the African American Mayors Association, talking about COVID vaccines and the plans of the Biden administration in order to bring those vaccinations to our communities in an equitable fashion. It was very promising to hear the level of detail in terms of data and the request to get the vaccines down to our municipal level. Many of the mayors across the city, including myself, expressed a concern about the bottleneck of vaccines that happens with the state. And we wanted to try and get as much of that directly to cities and to our communities in different pods. So that was a very good conversation. One of the things that they would continue to impress, last night it was actually, Vice President was expressing is the importance of masking up. So I'm happy to see that we as a city are doing that and leading by example to mask up and even double masking now or K95, I see some people have, to make sure that we reduce the spread. So this is a on the grounds call from the very highest up and trying to make sure we communicate that message all the way down on a municipal and residential level. So as those conversations continue, we'll continue to bring that back, but I do want to let people know that from the highest levels all the way down to municipal level and the grants. We are working to try and get more doses of this vaccine out and put up mobile vaccination sites and pods throughout our community. So I'm excited to see the level of work and engagement of all the parties involved in making that happen. So look forward to more information. And that concludes, that concludes my report. All right. Any other comments or questions before we go official board? All right, do we have any board appointments?
No, Mr. Mayor.
All right, do we have a
Motion adjourned.
motion to adjourn? Moved by Commissioner Burke, second by Commissioner Teller. Everyone, thank you very much. Y'all have a good evening.